The Mecco and Pankykapus just released the Shelby Cobra 427 for ASSETTO CORSA. Now, we've seen screenshots of this, and they've been working on this for an absolute age, or what feels like an age, and it looks absolutely stunning. And now, finally, it's available for download on the ASSETTO CORSA forums, and you can jump in and drive it. It looks as good as it did in the screenshots. The car model, absolutely incredible. I mean, just look at that. I don't know what the polygon count is, but it's all smoothed off. The details are fantastic. The cockpit looks absolutely gorgeous. The driver staring into the distance, epic death stare there. I think he's ready to overtake some people and possibly drive into some spectators. But absolute beast of a car. Now I'm going to jump in and drive it. There's three... in the wrong gear. There's three versions of the car that you can choose. This is the first, the bog standard version. Mind you, bog standard doesn't really apply to this car. There's three different versions. One of them's like a race class version. The other one's a more souped up version of this one. And then there's a whole bunch of different skins you can pick. Of course, I had to pick the racing stripes because that makes you go faster, obviously. Now, engine. Listen to that! Sounds like a Spitfire coming down to kill you from the sky. And it's not even the final engine sounds. They said that they're going to actually do more work on the engine and the external and interior sounds, but already, I mean, you don't even need to drive this car to have fun. And the cockpit, textures, everything incredible. Let's go. Now I'm driving this on, oops, turns out I had my steering wheel turned. I'm driving this on Snoopy's 1.0 version of Nords, which I haven't had a chance to try yet, and I thought this might be a good excuse to update that. Oh, listen to it. Whoa! Okay, the car has absolute jelly suspension, which is not surprising based off it being a fairly old car. Where am I going? Oh, I know where I am now. But this is one of those cars where you really have to work with the car rather than you driving over the top of it. It's definitely a you and the car type vehicle. I think this car's going to tell you what to do rather than you telling what the car what to do. So I'm going to take this quite easy. But it goes exactly where you point it within its own envelope. Oh. Okay, that's too fast for those corners. This car does weigh a ton. Okay, we've got to take that a bit more easy. It does what you'd expect it to do. This is really not the type of vehicle that I'm that good at driving. But I can tell from the couple of laps I've put in with it already that this is just a pure enjoyment. You could drive this car for hours on end. We just need some more tracks in ASSETTO CORSA that are like British countryside, rural roads. Like it's only got 4 gears, it appears. But just for driving, just for the pure aspect of driving, this is so good. And the force feedback is really responsive, direct. You can feel the weighting of the car absolutely perfectly. Okay, it just has 4 gears. You can feel the weighting of the car absolutely perfectly through the force feedback. It communicates everything going on. And it's very easy to lose the car at speed. I need to put a good couple of hours into this to get to a basic level with it. You can power out of the corners, but it does so in a really nice, grippy way. It's like you're putting the power on and the car is sliding out, but it just feels so intuitive and direct, even though it is a absolutely out of control beast of a car. That sounds like a complete contradiction, but it's so good. Really have to concentrate to drive this. Going from the GP2 car to this, it's like going from a NASA space rocket to a luxury cruise liner. It takes a bit of getting used to. I don't want to hit the wall. You've got to be careful on the brakes. As you see that, I put a bit too much brake on, and then the car was going where it wanted to go. but entirely my fault, and the car communicates exactly what you're doing wrong. So again, I think this is another one of those cars that will really help people that are new if they've got the stomach to put up with being thrown off into the wall. But if you want to get an understanding of what causes a car to do what, the effects of the brake and the accelerate on the vehicle's dynamics, these old cars are really good for that, because they show you exactly what you're doing, and with this car especially, it's all coming through the force feedback, so nothing should really catch you off guard. It should be very apparent why what happened, and then ideally you can respond to that by driving in a more behaved manner. Or if you dabbing the brake on as you're going into corners, you can just feel the car wants to go. It's a bit like the McLaren GT car, in that it kind of wants to go where it wants to go, and then you have to work with that. Obviously this is on another level in terms of it being a lot more sluggish and heavy, but this is really good. All with amazing attention to detail with the car model. Oh god, don't hit the wall. And the car model, absolutely stunning. I cannot wait to play this with the DK2. Just look around the cockpit, and I don't know if the Assetto Corsa does full head tracking in terms of the actual full movement of the face rather than just left and right. Presumably they'll integrate it when the DK2 SDK is made more available, if it isn't already. Absolute beast. I would not drive this in real life. There is no way in hell that I would take a car like this on a track like this and drive at these speeds. Maybe if I was a multi-millionaire, but and I had some kind of super advanced safety harness and ideally some kind of teleportation device to take me out of the car on the inevitable crash. I have to say, this version of the track is awesome as well. Now, some of the things that are coming through the force feedback is really nice. Is when the back end comes out, and when it does, oh, that was really bad of me. When it does bite in, it really does communicate what's going on. The wheel spin causing the G25 to absolutely go crazy. Now, I do with the G25 race with a bit of the slip settings on, so the slip effect. So it'll be worth trying this car with that turned down. Some cars I find work better than others with the effects on and off. You really need a doctorate in car handling of this specific car to get good laps out of it and be comfortable, but you can really tell already just from the small amount of time in it that it's the type of car where it's just going to reward you. The more time you put into it and the more you learn with it, the more you're going to get out of it. Oh no, I need to go back to driving school. It's so hard just to keep on the road. But it's not doing anything. It's not doing anything that's catching me off guard. It's everything that's going wrong is purely from my bad driving. You sometimes get cars where you feel like the mistakes are caused by the game or the specific car, but in this case, it's very apparent that where I'm losing control is from what I'm doing and not correcting it properly, not handling the car properly. This is probably not the easiest of tracks to first take a vehicle like this out on. It's so smooth, the transition between understeer and oversteer, and it just feels like there's so much depth to the different situations that the car gets into. It doesn't feel like you're just going from one state to another. It's as if there's like an infinite amount of depth between each defined aspect of the car's handling. And you've got to be really careful when you go over big bumps, because the car goes so light and is so ready to just bin you in the wall. I have to say, out of all cars that make me feel on edge, this is absolutely incredible. You really do feel like you have to concentrate and you are on edge, but in a good way. I think you get in some simulators, you get cars where they make you feel like you're on edge and give you a bit of a heart attack to just drive them to a basic level. But you're on edge in a bad way. You just feel like the game's going to kick you in the balls with no like explanation. But this is fantastic. Right, I'm going to try the race spec version of it, I guess it is. Let's jump out of this one. Okay, so as I said, there's 3 different versions of the car. There's the bog standard one that I was driving at the start of the video. There's one which is, I think it's effectively the same car but with a slightly souped up engine. And then there's this, which I think is a race version of the car with a lot tighter suspension. Now I've loaded up, I think it's called Manchione track for this, because it's completely flat, but it's still got a good number of nice tight nimble corners. And this is the perfect type of track, I find, for gauging a general feel for a car. Because of it being flat, it's generally quite predictable what's going to happen, and you can learn the general brake response for the vehicle, how it handles in perfect conditions. Already, this again sounds absolutely incredible. It sounds like an aeroplane. I've put the brake pedals on the screen so you can kind of see what I'm doing with my feet, but I'm really driving this bad. I need to put some time into this car. Having said that, I think sometimes when you put time into a specific car, it often feels like, oh, you know, it's a bit of a waste of learning another car for no real reason. But this is still tight enough and responsive enough that you're going to be refining your general driving ability that applies to any car. And as I said with the previous one, it's the perfect car for teaching you why what you're doing or what you're doing is having what effect, because it's so transparent. And this one's a lot tighter and a lot more nimble than the Spec 1 version. Oh, I'm braking. The car wants to go everywhere. Absolutely fantastic. I love cars where you have to keep on your toes. At lower speeds, the brakes seem really responsive, so I think it's just at high speeds you need to account for that. Absolutely awesome. Oh, so good. And the car is effectively driving itself, which I absolutely love. Try and brake a little bit earlier for that. The tighter suspension makes all the difference. For me, I much prefer this version. I can see how you can get loads of fun out of the other one though as well. But I prefer cars more in the racy, tight direction rather than the cruise liner ferry direction. But that's just me. Oh, 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 oh. Okay, I'm going to do one more clean lap and then I'm going to give this a little bit of a drift. Oh, the engine sounds so good when you're powering out a corner, and these aren't even their final sounds, so absolutely incredible. If you've got a hi-fi system with a subwoofer and you drive this car, you're probably gonna blow a hole in your floor. You can feel the front end slipping there. I was understeering a tiny bit, but not totally off. It's so much depth to the characteristics of this. You can really feel it around each corner as well. Okay, right, I'm going to do a bit of a drifty lap now. But absolutely incredible. Okay, that was a bit of an ambitious attempt at a ridiculous power slide. It obviously has the power to kick the back end out. Oh, it's really got its own distinctive character to it. If you drift the Ferraris in this compared to this, it's completely different. But you have to get the back to lose traction. It does have a lot of grip. It seems to be more suited. This is, again, I'm using default setups, all terrible. It's alright, and it costs a couple $100,000 again to fix. It seems more suited to powering out of a corner rather than wanting to drift in general, but I think with practice, yeah, it's still 4 gears with this version as well. I think with practice, you should be able to Scandinavian flick it in and get the back end to come out, and then it kind of starts understeering as you get into the slide, so I think you have to get the exact right angle on it. And then you have to be really fast to catch it, especially because the G25 is a little bit too slow with this version of the car to automatically correct properly. Okay, that's taken too much liberty. This is a really tricky car to drift, but I think once you get the hang of it and learn its specific envelope, it's been an absolute beast. Whoops. It'd be really satisfying to do clean drifting with this. What a mess. I'm not getting into the drift team with this performance. Oh, it's so hard to get the back to come out with the power, and then you've got to catch it so fast. Because if you don't, it's just going to veer straight off and push you into the wall. Really good fun though. It really is a whole new ball game though, driving this. Oh. So good. So good. If you do completely light up the rears, it will just spin, so you can't dump the accelerator and the clutch together. It really doesn't appreciate that. I mean, maybe you could if you actually controlled it a bit more, but this is absolutely awesome. I mean, I can't believe this is a mod and not a car that just comes with the game. It's just ridiculous. It's so good. And the mods coming out for this, and the driving games that are coming out recently, it's just ridiculous. Look at that car model. Absolutely incredible. I'm sure when I put my Oculus Rift on and look at this, my mind is going to explode. And then we won't talk about servo wheels every single video. Let's do some donuts. This is how console players play the driving games. Absolutely amazing. So much fun to be had with this. Really need to learn how to drive it and handle it though. It's even harder in third person. Let's just look at some of the details on the actual car as well. Go into the cockpit, take a little gander using I've enabled developer mode on the widget so you can access bits and bobs. I can't remember how I did it. I think it's in the one of the launch files. Where's the camera mode? It should be like I don't know if it's got an icon. Photo mode. There we go. Start. Okay. But there we go. Shift makes you move slower. Look at the details. It's all. I mean, it looks real. It's like a real leathery type texture. I mean, it's just a tarred texture, but it looks so nice. The way it's picking up the lighting as well. just the attention to detail of this car model, fantastic. I mean, people now, what with this and Project Cars as well, in terms of just the graphical fidelity that's going into these driving simulators. If you're even if you don't like driving and you just like looking at car models, you're the type of person that liked collecting car models and that sort of thing. Why bother with toys anymore? I mean, just look at this 3D model. I mean, the poly count must be ridiculous. I don't know. And I don't. I'm running a lot of the settings on high in ASSETTO CORSA, but I don't think I've got it on the fullest, everything on full. But absolutely incredible car, incredible mod. Oh, look at that! It's almost looks like I was in a drift. Fantastic work by the mod team there. Put the link to it in the comments. You have to drive this. This is possibly one of the most enjoyable cars for ASSETTO CORSA. I mean, they're all different actually. You can't really say that. There's different cars in this game that are enjoyable for different reasons. I could just look at that all day long. Do the steering wheel dance. Do the steering wheel dance. Incredible. Download it now. Thanks for watching this video. If you got to the end of it, then you win a prize. Type prize in the comments, and the first person to type prize wins a prize. I don't know what it is yet, but you'll get a prize. So, subscribe and like, all that business. Check out the other videos. Goodbye.